this will direct us to the project's dashboard. And now I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. So go to the top right and hit on create new. And now I'm going to type the name of my project. It's going to be a Notes app like this. And I'm going to click on create blank. Now it's going to prompt us to the information of the application. And for this application, we're going to use Firebase. So we're going to leave this on and we're going to click on next step. Now it's asking us for a project Firebase project ID. So to get this ID, we need to create a Firebase project. So let's go ahead and open a new tab, and type in firebase.google.com. And once we're in firebase.google.com, we have to sign in or go to console. And if you have a Google account, you can log in with your Google account. So let's click on log to console, and here we will have our projects, our Firebase projects. So if this is the first time, you will have no projects. So just click on add project, and for the name of our project, I'm going to call it Notes app like this, and I'm going to just click on continue. Now it's asking us if we want to activate Google Analytics. We're not going to use Google Analytics for a project, so we're just going to check this off and click on create project. And now we'll have to wait a little bit. Alright, so now our project is ready. You just click on continue, and this will take us to our Firebase dashboard. Okay, so there's a couple things we need to do before we get started. So the first thing is we're going to go here to the left to where it says project overview, and we're going to click on the settings wheel, and we're going to go to project settings, and in here we're going to go to users and permissions. And there's one thing that we need to do here, because we need to give Flutterflow access to our Firebase so that Flutterflow can make changes inside our Firebase project. So we're going to click on add member, and I'm going to type in Firebase, so Firebase at Flutterflow. Make sure you type it correctly. It's Firebase at Flutterflow.io. And for the role, we're going to select the editor role and click on done and click on add member. Okay, so now that this is done, we need to activate our database. So how do we activate our database? We're going to go here to the left and go to where it says build and click on here. And here we have all the different services that Firebase allows us to activate. So for this application, we just need a Firestore database, okay? So the database of Firebase is called Firestore. So we're gonna click on Firestore database, and this is gonna ask us to create a database, and we're gonna click on create database. And now it's asking us where we want this database to be located. You can choose Europe or United States depending on which is nearer to your location. I'm gonna leave it just at United States for the purpose of this course, and click on next. And here is asking us if we want to start our application or database in production mode or in test mode. If you want to make an application for the real world, you start in production mode. If not, you click on test mode. Since this is a course, we're gonna select test mode. Just take into account that if you want to make your database production ready, that means that you make your database available for production for a real application, then you start in production mode. Okay, so select test mode and click on create. Okay, so if you find out that Firestore is just like this all the time, it gets stuck, just refresh your page. So go here to the left of the web browser and just reload the page, and just click on reload, and this should fix the issue. Okay, so now here we have our database, and now our database is empty. So how does Firebase work? How does the database work? We create a collection for our application. We're gonna create a collection called notes, and inside our notes collection, we're gonna have lots of notes, and each note is going to be a document. Okay, and inside that document, we're gonna have a value. The value is gonna be a text, right? Because we're gonna have a text value for every note. So let's go ahead and do this, but the best way to do it is to do it from Flutterflow directly, okay? Since we have connected our Flutterflow to our Firebase, we can do things from Flutterflow. So now we can go back to Flutterflow, and it's asking us for a project ID. So we're gonna go back to Firebase, go to the settings wheel, go to project settings, and in the project settings, we have something called the project ID. So we're just gonna select it, Control-C, or Command-C if you're in a Mac, and then just paste it here. So copy and paste your project ID and click on connect. And sometimes it says that it gives you an error. This is some kind of bug. So we're gonna just go back and do it again. Okay, just copy that and paste it here and click on connect. And for some reason it's not working. Now, okay, so just make sure there are no spaces, okay? Make sure there are no spaces before the project ID. And now click on auto generate config files and click on generate files. Okay, we need to do this to finish setting up Firebase. Alright, so now here it's asking us if we want to enable authentication and create a user collection. We're not gonna be able to log into this app. We're not gonna create a login for the app, so we're gonna leave this unchecked and we're gonna just click on start building. Alright, so the first thing that I like to do is I like to change this text on the app bar, and I'm gonna change it to notes. Alright, and now what I want to do is I want the user to be able to create a note here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add some items to the column. So the first thing that I want to add maybe is a row. So I'm gonna add a row. And inside this row, I want to add a text field for the user to input the note and maybe a button or an icon. So when the user presses this icon, the note will be added to the notes list. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a child. I'm gonna just select the row, add a child. I'm gonna look for a text field, so I can just search the text field like that. And here you can see that we have the text field. I'm gonna add it. Then I'm gonna add an icon to the row. Select the icon. Now I'm gonna go to the properties. While I have the icon selected, I'm gonna change the icon size here at the bottom of the properties. I'm gonna change it to 50. Okay, I'm gonna click here where it says settings outline. This is the icon that I have selected. So I'm gonna click on this. I'm gonna search for an icon. I'm gonna search for the add icon. I'm gonna select the add icon. Okay, so now we have the text field and we have the icon. So when the user presses this icon, whatever the user has input here, it will be added to the notes list. So I can select the text field. I can go to the properties and I can change the label here for enter your note, for example, enter your note, like that. And now we want to be able to add whatever the user inputs here to the notes list. So to make this possible, we need to be able to set how the structure of the database is gonna work. So to do this, we're gonna go to the left sidebar. I'm gonna click where it says Firestore. And since we have connected our Flutterflow project to our Firebase, we have access to the Firestore database. So now inside Flutterflow, we can just click here where it says create collection, okay? I'm gonna create a collection called notes. I'm gonna call it notes and click on create. And now we're gonna start from scratch. And in here, we can add the fields that we want our notes collection to have. So every note, we want every note to have a text field that is going to be the value of the note, okay? And the data type for this is gonna be string. String is for text, for variables that hold text values. So our text field is going to be of type string, which means that it will be able to hold any kind of text. And now don't forget to click this check mark, this green check mark, to add this field. Okay, now that we have added this field, now we can go ahead and create documents, or we can create notes for this notes collection, okay? So let's go ahead and go back here. And now we can select this icon, and we're going to go to the actions tab here on the right. Next to the properties, there's an actions, and here we can specify an action when the user clicks this icon. So I'm gonna click on add action, and here you can see that we have on tap, on double tap, on long press. We want to select on tap, so when the user taps on this icon, we want something to happen. So we want to create a document. So I'm gonna look for an action here. I'm gonna type in create document, and you can see that under Firestore here, we have the option to create a document. So I'm gonna click on create document, and I'm gonna select the collection. Since we only have defined one collection, we're gonna select the collection called notes, and here we can add the fields that we specified. So we only specified one field, so we will only be able to add one field, this field called text. And in the text field, we want to set the text field from whatever the user inputs in this text field over here. So the text is gonna get its value from a variable, and we're gonna click on set. And we're gonna go to widget state, and under widget state we have the text field. You can see that as I hover over this text field over here highlights the text field in the page. So I'm gonna just select the text field, and that's it. Now whenever the user clicks here, we're gonna create a document of the collection notes, and we're gonna set the text field, we're gonna set the value of the text field from a variable from whatever the user inputs inside the text field of the page. Okay? So don't confuse this text field with this text field. This text field is the widget, and the text field here is the field that we created here in the database. Okay. So now we can go ahead and test the application. So to test the application, as always, you click on the white Thunderbolt. This will open a new tab, and we will have to wait a little bit. All right, so now we can enter our node here. So I'm gonna enter. I'm gonna click on this button, and nothing happens. So we have to check in the database to see if we have created the document, okay, the node. So let's go to the database and let's just refresh. And now we should see that something happens, but nothing happened. So I'm gonna go back here, and sometimes we need to instant reload for the changes to be applied. Okay, so I'm gonna instant reload. I'm gonna say my first node. I'm gonna click on the icon, and now I'm gonna go here to the database. I'm gonna refresh the database, and still I don't see anything. Okay, so the problem is we have a problem here, and the problem is we're not creating document. And this is because we have some issues with the permissions of the database. So we already created this, right? We created these collection nodes. We said that we want to be able to create documents of this collection with this field, okay? But the thing is that if we go here to the settings tab here on the top left inside Firebase, we will see that here we have some issues because we can create nodes, but we cannot write nodes or delete nodes. So we have an issue with the update and the delete functions of the database. So this is not the ideal thing, because here we're saying that no one can write and no one can delete. So we're going just to change this to everyone and everyone, just for the purpose of this course. I'm gonna click on deploy, and now we're gonna click on deploy now. All right, now we can go back here and we can instant reload. And then I can write my node, for example, and click on plus. And here now we can click here. And now we can see that we have successfully created this node. Okay, so there was some issues. There was some issues with the rules, okay, with the Firestore rules. So for every collection that we create or that we define, we have to specify the rules. And here basically it says that no one can write, so no one can update the nodes. No one can update a document from the nodes collection. So sometimes Flutterflow has some issues if you're very restrictive with the nodes. If it says no one, then Flutterflow will assume that you cannot maybe create a document. So make sure it's everyone. And now we can see that we have successfully created this this document. So this is a document, this is a node inside the nodes collection, and the value is my node. Okay, so here we should be able to create as many nodes as we want to. Okay, perfect. So this is gonna be for now. See you in the next video. Alright, so now I want to be able to show the nodes that I have created, because we created a node. Here I can go ahead and create another node. I can say my second node. I can click on add, and now if I go here, you can see that we have created a second node in real time, and we have two nodes right now. Okay, and this is basically, this is the identifier of the node. Okay, this over here, this large combination of numbers and letters is the identifier of the node. Okay, so now I want to be able to show my node. So we're gonna go back to Flutterflow, and here I'm going to add a widget called a list view, and you're gonna understand why in a minute. So I'm gonna select the column, I'm gonna add a child, I'm gonna look for list view, and you can see that over here I found it. You can also look for it here and type in list view. I'm gonna select it, and now I want this list view to be on top of this row. So one thing that I can do, I can go to a hierarchy, click the list view, okay, and just drag it just below the column. Okay, and now that we have the list view below the column, now we can expand the list view. So I'm gonna go to the properties, and here we have a padding and alignment section, and I'm gonna click on expansion. I'm gonna click this expansion. Okay, and here you can see that the list view expands all the way as much as it can. Okay, so the list view is a widget that will allow us to have different children. So from the list view, we can do a query. We can ask. So from this list view, we can ask this database and say, okay, I want you to give me all the nodes that you have in your nodes collection. And for every node, I'm gonna create a child. So the list view is going to create a child for every node, a copy of its child for every node that we have in here. And we can give this list view whatever child we want. So I'm just gonna give it a child. I'm gonna add a child to the list view, and the child is going to be a row. And inside the row, I'm gonna add a child to the row. I'm gonna add in a text maybe for the node to display the node, and also I'm gonna add another child to the row. I'm gonna add in an icon. For now, I'm just gonna add a text. Okay. So now you can see that if we zoom in, you can see that the text is very close to the edges because this row is like this. So what we can do is we can select the main column. I'm gonna select the main column on the hierarchy. I'm gonna go to the padding property, and I'm gonna add 16 pixels of padding to all sides. And now we have more space that way. Okay, so now this text, I'm gonna select this text. I'm gonna change the size of the text. So select it and go to the properties and find the font size. Okay, under the text properties, I'm gonna change it to 20 just so it's a little bit bigger. Okay, like this. And now I want this list view to access the list of nodes. So how do we do this? I'm gonna select the list view on the hierarchy. I'm gonna go to the right. I'm gonna go to where it says backend query, and I'm gonna add a query. So we're gonna add a query to the list view, and we're gonna select the query type, which is gonna be a query collection. We're gonna ask for a collection. The collection is gonna be the nodes collection. We're gonna ask for the list of documents. So we're gonna ask for the list of documents for the list of nodes, and we're not gonna filter. We're not gonna order them for this for now, and we're just gonna click on confirm. And now it says, by adding a backend query to this list view, you are telling it to generate these children dynamically from the return list of nodes documents. Okay, so this is basically what I told you before. The list view is gonna create a copy of its child for every node. Since we have 2 nodes, it's gonna create 2 rows with 2 texts. Okay, so confirm, and then you can see that the list view is telling us basically that it's gonna create these children dynamically from a query. Okay. So I'm gonna just select the list view. I'm gonna add a little bit more spacing between the copies of its children. So I'm gonna go to the properties. I'm gonna go all the way down. Remember that I selected the list view. Okay, so I selected the list view, and I'm gonna go to the item spacing, and I'm gonna select 8. So this is gonna put 8 pixels of spacing between each child. Okay, perfect. Now I want this text to be equal to the text value of every node. Okay, so I'm gonna select this text. I'm gonna go to the properties. I'm gonna look for the value of the text, and instead of saying hello world, I wanna select the orange icon. And here now you can see that we have access to this nodes document. Okay, because we made the query from the list view. So now all of the children of the list view are gonna have access to this nodes document. So if you expand on here, you can see that we have access to the text field. So we have access to this text field of this document. So I'm gonna just select it, and now you can see it says text. Perfect. This is what we want. Okay, now I can go back to my session, and it's about to expire, so I can just instant reload. If your session expired, you can always click this button again and click the white thunderbolt. Okay, but I had 1 minute left, so now you can see my node, my second node. Perfect. You can see that we have my node and my second node. Okay, since we are not ordering our nodes, they can appear in any order. Okay, but that doesn't matter for now. If I add in a new node, I say, for example, buy apples, and I add it. Now you can see that buy apples appears here in the middle. This is because we are not ordering the list. We're not ordering the query in any way, but it is okay for now. Okay, so this is gonna be for this video. I'll see you in the next video. Alright, so now let's go ahead and add the functionality to delete the node. It would be very nice if we have the option here, maybe an icon, to be able to delete the nodes. Okay, so to do this, we're gonna go back to Flutterflow, and inside this row, we're gonna add in new stuff. Another way you can insert things, we can just right click here and click on insert. Okay, this will open the widgets view, the widgets tab, so that we can insert any widget that we want. I want to insert an icon, so I'm just going to scroll down and look for icon here. And now we have this icon here, but I would like this icon to be here at the end of the row. So I'm going to select the row, and here in the properties, I'm going to go down, scroll down, till I see this main axis alignment. And this is basically the way we want to display the children. It is set to the start, so both children of the row are set at the start. But I want to put some space between. And there is one of these options allows us to put a space between, the last one, okay? If I click here, you can see that we put some space between this text and this icon. Now I'm going to change this icon, so I'm going to click on the icon. I'm going to change this icon to a delete icon. So I'm going to click on the icon, I'm going to change it to delete. I'm going to click on delete. Perfect, so this is what I want. Now I'm going to add an action to this icon to be able to delete this note from the notes list, okay? From here, we want to delete the notes from here, from the database. So to do that, we're going to click on the icon and we're going to click on actions, add action, and we're going to look for an action called delete. And if we scroll down, we're going to see that we have the option to delete document below Firestore, okay? So delete document, and we're going to click here where it says on set, and we're going to delete the reference of this notes document, okay? So click on here and select reference, okay? So this reference, okay, now just click confirm. I'm going to explain one thing. Okay, click confirm. This reference is basically saying I want to delete this reference. So when you delete the reference, you delete everything, okay? You delete the whole document and all of its values. So this is the document, the reference of the document, and each reference, it's basically a note, okay? Because we said that, every single document is a note in this case because we created the notes collection, okay? Perfect. So now let's go ahead and try this out. So I'm gonna go here, and my session expires in 7 minutes, so I can just instant reload. Okay, now I have this trash icon, this delete icon. I can click here and I delete all the notes. If we go here to the database, we can see that we have no references. We have deleted all the documents, and so we have an empty collection of notes. Perfect. So now we can add notes, we can delete notes. It would be very nice if we could see the note, if we could learn how to transfer a note to a different page, okay? So for example, here I'm gonna type in buy apples, for example, click on the plus icon, and now I would like to pass this information so I could view this buy apples in another page. So how do we do this? Okay, to do this is very easy. We're gonna go back to Flutterflow, and now I'm gonna create a new page. So to create a new page, I can go ahead here and create a blank page, or I can just right click here and I can duplicate page, okay? So I duplicated the page, so now we're in the home page copy. I want to change the name of the page, so I'm gonna select in the hierarchy, I'm gonna select the base widget, and I'm gonna go here to the right, and now you can see that below scaffold we have the name of the page. I'm gonna click on this edit button so that we can change the name. I'm gonna call it a note update, okay, and click on the check mark. So basically in this page we're gonna be able to update the note if we want to, okay? But before updating the note, we're gonna just show the note in another page, in this note update. So I'm just gonna delete this list view. So click on it, and to delete a widget, you can right click and select this delete, or you can just hit the delete key on your keyboard. Okay, so that's one thing I like to do a lot. I like to just hit click the the note here. So basically we're gonna be able to tap on this row, and this will take us to this note update, and here we will be able to see the value of the note. So this text in the app bar, I'm gonna change it to update note. I'm going to make it so there is an option to go back to the home page. So for this, I'm gonna click on this icon here next to the app bar, and from here we can select a specific kind of app bar. I'm gonna go ahead and select this one. So basically, by selecting this kind of app bar, we have the option to go back to the previous page. Okay, so now the thing is that this page knows nothing about the query that this list view made, because this list view made a query, and every child has access to a document, okay, to a document, but we want to pass the information of that document to the notes update page, to this page. So for this, we need to set something called a page parameter. So let's select the base widget of this page here in the hierarchy, okay? And now we have access to these page parameters here on the right. On the right, we have at the top, we have these page parameters. So I can click the add parameters button and add a parameter. And this parameter is gonna be a note.ref. So this is just the name that I put it, that I defined, just to know what we're talking about, okay? We're talking about the reference of the document reference of a note, okay? And the type is going to be document reference. So basically we're gonna pass the document reference of a specific note to this page. Okay, so it's gonna be of type document reference, and here we have to select the collection. So the collection is the notes, which is the only collection that we have available. I'm gonna click on confirm. So now whenever we navigate to this page, we will have to pass a parameter that is gonna be the reference, the document reference of a note, okay? So in this case, it's gonna be this one, because this is the only one we have right now. So we will only be able to pass that one. So now that we have access to this document reference in this page, we can select this text field, and we're gonna go to where it says initial value, okay? Because we wanna set this initial value. So I'm just gonna remove this enter your note. So for that, we're gonna scroll down until you see the label text. So we're gonna remove the label text and go up again until we see the initial value. I'm gonna set this initial value from the reference that we pass here. But to be able to access the value from the reference, we need to query the reference inside this page. So this page already has access to the reference, but we need to query it. So I'm gonna query it from the column here. So I'm gonna select the column in the hierarchy, and we're gonna go to the backend query, and we're gonna add a query. And this query is gonna be of type document reference. Right now, we're not gonna query a collection, we're gonna query a document from reference. And it's gonna be from the notes collection, and if you click on set, here now we have access to this note.ref. This is the parameter that we defined, okay? So this note.ref is gonna have the value of a document reference. So like that, confirm and confirm. Now that we have made the query of that reference, now this text field has access to the fields of that query, okay? And now for that, we're gonna select the text field. We're gonna go to initial value. So scroll down till you see initial value. We're gonna click this orange icon, and now see that now we have access to this notes document. This is because we queried this reference, this note.ref. This is the parameter. We queried from we made a query of this reference from the column, and now all the children of the column, since the text field is a child of the column, the text field has access to the notes document, okay? This is the result of querying that reference, and now we have access to the text field. So I'm gonna select the text. So now the value that we're gonna have here is the same one as the value that we have here. So we're gonna click on this row. So when we click on this row, we're gonna add an action to this row, okay? So